Welcome to the Positive Sports Podcast. I'll be your host this afternoon, Ed Montana. Alongside me today, my brother Alex. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. Besides this pimple I have in my nose that...
In your nose or on the...
No, it's in my nose,
it's
bro.
Inside?
So on the way here, I'm constantly looking at the rearview mirror because I feel like I have a fucking big-ass booger in my nose, and I don't.
It's just a pimple.
It's just a pimple, so I go like this to take it out because I think it feels like a booger, and then I squeeze it by accident with my nail, and that shit just brings me to tears.
Everything that has... Why is that, right? Like, if you get hit in the nuts, it doesn't bring you to tears unless you get hit really hard, right?
Yeah.
It just hurts real bad. But your nose, if you get a pimple or pluck a nose hair, oh my God.
Is it?
Why is it that? Is it because it's so close to your eyes?
Maybe.
That it makes you tear?
Yeah, I mean,
if I get punched in the... If I get hit in the ear, it doesn't make my eyes tear.
Yeah, but nobody ever goes to hit you in the ear unless you're a UFC fighter or a boxer.
In which case you're used to it. No, I got clapped up in the ear. I told that story on the live episode when Ken and I watched the UFC about my first fight. I've never told you this story?
No, and I must have missed that.
So I'll tell it again. So I was a kid, and we had gone shopping. This was before you were born. I was probably like 6 or 7 years old. Mm-hmm. And I'd been in some scraps in school, but nothing serious. And we were at the grocery store, and Mom and Dad let me wander around. And I got into a bit of a dust-up with a kid, right? And he was a little bit older than me. Mm-hmm. And so I went back to my parents. I told my dad. My dad's like, I mean, if you want to fight, go fight.
Right.
I was like, all right.
Cool.
I'm thinking, all right, I'm not going to get in trouble for fighting. I'm going to go. So I went and I confronted the kid. And, the kid walked up to me, and I walked up to him. And, I used to watch boxing with Dad all the time, right? So I thought it was going to be like someone was going to ring a bell and officially start this fight, right? Man, as soon as I got close enough to that kid, he swung a roundhouse, clapped me in the ear, and ran away.
Damn, what a sissy.
Yeah. So then I went back to my dad, and I wasn't crying, but I was...
Borderline,
right? And my dad's, well, you're a dumbass. What were you waiting for? I was like, I don't know. And my dad's like, hey, man, in a street fight, the fight starts when he is within arm's length of you.
Right.
When he's close enough to hit you, that's when the fight starts. I've never forgotten that. And in fact, when I was in college one time, I got in a fight, and it was the same thing.
You didn't wait for the bell?
Some guy approached me, and I told him, I said, you come any closer, I'm going to knock you the fuck out. And as soon as he was within arm's reach, I knocked him the fuck out.
You didn't wait for the bell to ring?
No, I learned my lesson. That's one of those lessons when I was, 6 or 7 that I learned and never forgot.
I think the worst beating I ever took was so fast. I got hit with, believe it or not, I got hit. And so in 93, Mom and I were going, 95, we were going,
13.
We were getting ready to go to Italy. Mm-hmm. Right? And the day before, I get into a fight with some kids around the neighborhood, with some Italian kids who, come to find out later in life, one of them was a star in the Bronx Tale. He was Slick, the one with the, with the comb back hair, right, all slick, yeah. And I got hit on my temple right here with a fucking bat.
I didn't know this story.
Yeah, I didn't tell nobody this story. Especially Mom, because the next day I have to sit with her on a plane, and I don't know if she's sitting on the left of me or to the right of me. I have to go home after this. Dude, I blacked out. I mean, he didn't hit me like square on, but he hit me good enough for me to fall on my knees and completely see green.
Green?
Yeah, instead of blacked out, I greened out. I just remember seeing green. And like a green screen.
Right.
Yeah, it was crazy. And so that was like the worst. I was scared. I don't know if I was more scared.
He hit you with like a
aluminum bat.
A full size aluminum bat?
Yes. Aluminum bat.
Okay.
So I don't know if
So the lesson should be the fight starts when they're close enough to hit you with whatever they may have in their hand.
Well, look, for me, the fight started and it ended all at the same time. So, thank God, I guess they felt sorry for. I don't know, dude. I just remember going on my knees and falling down and just seeing green.
Now, why did you get into a fight?
We just. Sometimes you just mess with the wrong people.
Yeah, I guess.
You know? And you know, look, bro, you grew up in Bensonhurst, right? Well, yeah, you grew up in Bensonhurst in Brooklyn. Where we grew up, man, on Beth Avenue, that was all Italians. You know. You're
going to get into a fight.
You're going to get into a fight, but it's going to be with the wrong people who just, you know, if you're not connected, you're gonna catch a beating, and
sooner or later, yeah.
That's kind of what happened. We were just some, you know, dumb 13-year-old, 14-year-old punk kids going around. And
so the question is, did Mom ever notice?
No, she did not.
How did you not have like a bruise or a knot?
I had a knot, but I guess Mom just it blended well with my. I don't know. She just didn't notice, and I was more scared of that. Of Mom.
Than of the green out?
Yeah. Yeah. That shit sucked, man. That sucked. So,
speaking of fights, MLB came back with another, I don't know how many proposals we're up to now, 4 or 5. Dude, 17. I feel like a child in a bad marriage. I mean, they're my parents, and I love them both.
Right.
But they need to get divorced, and they won't.
Yeah.
They'll stay together for the kids, i.e. me, the fan, and they will continue to traumatize me because they're continuing to fight about nothing.
Well, at this point, it's a full-out petty war. It's pure petty. What they need to do, baseball and the Players Association, is stop leaking this information to Carl Ravitch and Jeff Passan and John Heyman, and just fucking figure it out. If you really want to play, that's what you'll do. Because at this point, it feels to me like baseball's coming back with like these ridiculous offers with the intention of, okay, we know
making the other guy look bad.
Well, we know they're not going to agree to it, and since the Players Association doesn't agree to it, then they're going to be looked at as the bad guy, and we just won't have a season. So I feel like that's where, and so it's just real petty right now.
It is like being a child with bickering parents, right? Yeah. And the bickering parents are telling us how shitty their spouse is, right?
And you have no choice.
So Mom's coming to you and saying, I offered him a prorated salary and he won't take it. And then Dad's coming up to you and saying, well, I offered to take a pay cut and play more games and she won't take it. And they go lock yourselves in the bedroom and fight behind closed doors and quit telling me about it. Because it is all an effort to get me, the child, i.e. the fan, to side with one or the other. And it's bullshit.
Right.
Because
I think
the whole thing is bullshit.
I think at this point the fans are just fed up. I don't think fans really care anymore.
I think
because the deeper this goes on, it reduces the games of the season, and I think people really have a problem with if this ends up being a 48 game season. Yes, we'll have baseball, but 48 games is I don't think people really want to see that.
As more and more sports come back, you're right. Fans are going to care less and less. Yeah. If this stretches to August, right? Let's say they come up with, they keep bickering and they wanted to have a 30-game season, and now we're getting into late July, where the NFL starting training camp and stuff. Fans aren't going to care. Fans are just going to go.
And if you guys have been following along, I'm with the players, but
because you're a player.
I'm a player.
Oh, you're a player.
I'm a player.
Player.
Player. Listen, I side with the players. I think Rob Manfred really dropped the ball here because you could have fucking given us baseball on July 4th. I mean, how more perfect would that have been, right? To give the fans
I agree.
America's pastime on Independence Day in the midst of everything that's going on.
Right.
And remember, I said a while back, baseball is the one sport that needs to come back before all the other sports. It's going to hurt it if it's just, I don't know. It's really a shame because, I mean, you know, I think we're both baseball guys, right?
Oh, yeah,
above
absolutely.
all the other major sports, right? Of course, we watch all the major sports, but baseball, we love so much, and it's just a damn shame that grown men, like really grown men in their 50s and 60s, right? Owners and the players can't come to an agreement, and it's just a shame.
Well, I don't understand why. The part that I really have not understood about this whole thing is the wide swings back and forth, right? 82 games, 48 games, 116. It's like they're purposely going further and further away from each other to make the other one seem like they're being unreasonable. And it's like, and I do blame Manfred for. I realize that he is an employee of the owners, right? Effectively, he's hired by the owners, and I understand that's where his bread is buttered. But look, above all, you're supposed to look out for the good of the game. And if that means you piss off the owners, then so be it. But he should have brought those fools into behind closed doors to the bargaining table and said, you guys aren't walking out of here until you have a deal. And he should have sat there in the middle with a black robe on and a gavel, right? No, I mean, really. He should have sat there with a black robe and a gavel, and he should have said, okay, let's start. Safety measures, okay. Games, okay. Salaries, okay. Revenue, let's go. Let's, and I mean, and don't leak stuff to the media. Let's just sit here and figure it out. And he hasn't done that, and it. Well, and they're missing out. You're right. They're missing out on a golden opportunity to be the first one back and really, I mean, just flourish through the summer.
Can you imagine if they came back on July 4th? Seriously, like, can you just think about that for a minute, right? Everybody's going to be either still at home, working from home, right? Or you'll have some jobs. Not everybody's going to be back working in an office setting, right? Maybe, it'll be staggered, but you'll have the majority of everybody. You'll have
everyone's attention.
Yeah, and
because what would they be competing against? They'd be competing against NASCAR, which runs once a week. They'd be competing against the UFC once a week, once every 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. They'd be competing against European soccer. Okay, it's European.
They wouldn't be.
But my point is that would be the level of competition. It's not like they'd be competing with the NBA, which is every couple of days and as American as baseball, pretty much, right? I mean, they would have the stage to themselves.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, they can't get it right.
Yeah. And another thing, and this kind of leads us into basketball, right? Because basketball is coming back, and they're planning on finishing the season, the NBA, in October. So for baseball, if they're talking about this supposed second wave of the virus, it's going to affect the playoffs.
Yeah.
Right? Because then you may not have any playoffs. So at least squeeze in a season or whatever games for a season.
Shut down for a couple of weeks.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, so I don't know, man. It's greed at its finest.
Yeah, I don't even know that it's greed. I think part of it is this. It's this love-hate relationship. Actually, it's all hate. It's just this. The owners want to break the union at every chance they get. And the Players Association wants to flex as the strongest union in sports at every chance they get. And that's what it looks like to me.
Yeah.
And both sides are very resolute in those goals. Because the owners hate the power that the union has. And the union loves to flex. They're like, yep, we're the biggest, baddest union there is. And I swear to God, I think every single time they get into these arguments, they flex and they kind of look over at football and the NBA and go, see, that's how it's done.
Which is a damn shame because I don't want to hear, I agree with you, I don't want to hear ever again that it's about the fans because it's obvious that these owners, the commissioner, does not care about the fans and to some extent the players too.
The players don't either.
Yeah. So I don't want to hear shit anymore about, they care about the fans and all this other bullshit.
I said this in a tweet a couple of weeks ago when the first proposal came out. The instant in a labor dispute that one side or the other says it's not about the money, that is the instant that 100% it is about the money.
Right. Yeah.
And they've said it's not about the money like 4 times already. And there you go. And that's why we have this freaking fiasco.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's I don't know. Maybe this time it won't be about the money.
Yeah, whatever. Watch what they do with this next proposal that's come out.
Well, they have until Wednesday. The players have until Wednesday to, I guess, counter offer. I mean,
well, no. You know what? They're going to do the same thing that the owners did to be assholes, right? They're going to say, no, we reject it, and we're not putting a counter offer. Right. And then they'll wait 2 or 3 days, and then they'll put out a counter offer, which is what the owners did. Look, the owners rejected the players' deal, and obviously, by the sheer fact that they rejected it, it means they read it. They knew what was in there.
Right.
They knew what bullet points they did not like and where they wanted to change it. And so they could have come up with a counter proposal immediately. Right? Immediately. They could have said, okay, well, our counter proposal is this. But no, they decided to wait 3 or 4 days to make everyone stew on the fact that we might not have baseball. So again, here I am, right? The child of these parents that should be divorced going, oh no, there's not going to be oh no, my parents are getting divorced, right? And I mean, you said it earlier, they'll come to terms eventually. Yeah, just like children of divorced parents, we'll have Christmas and we'll exchange gifts like everything's okay. But then as soon as Christmas is over, we'll be bickering again. And that's what's going to happen with these guys. They're going to bicker over and over and over again. And we're going to go through this shit every single time.
I'm going to go on record and say if they have a 48-game season, I ain't watching that shit. And if the Mets...
That's a lie.
No, it's not. If the Mets make it to the playoffs, I'll start watching. But 48-game season, I have zero interest. Zero interest. So...
The only way that you will not watch it is if I bet you that you will. But I bet you will.
No. I have no interest in a 48-game season. I think it's a slap. I think it's a slap in the. Who cares? 48 games. That's not even half a season. I mean,
that's only 30%.
I mean, that's. I don't know. 40 to me, 48 games is not enough. Is not enough. Is not enough.
I agree completely.
The Nationals were like 19-31 through 40-something games last year. Yeah. So I don't think it's right. I don't think it's fair. Not right. I don't think it's fair for all 30 teams. Well, maybe except like Detroit. And
here's the thing. I love my parents regardless. So I will watch.
Yeah, well, they're not my parents, so fuck them.
I am that child. I love both of them, and I will watch it regardless. Because I'm a sports junkie.
Yeah, I am too, but I mean...
Speaking of short seasons, the NBA's coming back.
Yes, they are.
Now, the NBA has taken a very interesting approach, right? Well, you know the details a little bit better than I do. Go ahead and explain how it's going to...
So they're planning to start up the season back up on July 31st. They're gonna have training camp, and I'm sure
they got plenty of time.
And I'm
we're in
sure
the middle of June.
And I'm sure this is music to your ears. I have not seen anything about exhibition games, so
they got time for that too.
There might not be any exhibition games, but they're gonna start the season back up on July 31st. They're gonna play in 8 games with 13 teams deciding for the last few spots in the West, and then 9 teams in the East. So you got a total of 22 teams. They're gonna go by wherever the schedule left off, and they're only playing those 22 teams in their last 8 games. Right. So,
okay. Someone has to explain to me, why did we come up with 22 teams? Why not all 30 teams?
I don't know.
Someone has to explain to me. We were arguing about this earlier. So if in those 8 games where you pick up on the schedule, if you have to play someone who is of those 8 teams that are not in this little thing,
right?
You don't get a forfeit win.
Right.
You got to play another game. You go to the next game on your schedule.
Right.
Why? If the NBA deemed 8 teams so bad that you don't even get to come back for a little 8-game mini season,
right,
then obviously that's a win for one of those teams that's in it. Like, okay, let's say the Bucks had 3 games left with teams like, I don't know,
the
Cleveland,
Knicks.
Atlanta, the Knicks.
Right.
Why shouldn't they get wins?
Because that's not games that they played.
Right, but the NBA says these teams are so bad, we're not even going to let them play. You guys suck so bad, we're not even going to let you play. Instead...
Wait, don't you want to see sports? You want to see games, right? You don't want to see forfeits. That ain't sports.
I agree.
That happens in Little League.
I agree completely. But the fact of the matter is, if the NBA decided that these 8 teams are so bad that they're not going to play, then they're forfeits.
They can't forfeit.
And here's the other thing.
They weren't even invited to Florida.
Here's the other thing. Why 8? Why not play the 15 games that were left? It's only 7 more games. That's 2 weeks.
Because then they would have to play those shit. Nobody wants to see the fucking Bucks play the Knicks.
No, look. No one wants to see the first round of the playoffs either. But we're not getting rid of that.
Look. I think the playoffs in basketball is going to be a tad different, even the first round. It's so.
And here's the other thing: they're doing it with no fans.
Right.
I've been talking about this a lot. They're going to have to do something because personally, I would love to have microphones around the court so that I could hear all of the trash talk, the interaction between the coaches and refs and everything. But the NBA wants to be a family product. And we can't have that on prime time because there may be a few expletives that are uttered during the course of a basketball game between players. And so how are they going to deal with that? My suggestion, do what they're doing in Germany. Pump in crowd noise into the arena.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, that's an option, I guess. I personally rather hear the trash talk.
I'd rather hear the trash talk too, but you said that with no fans, it would diminish the experience for you. So this is a way to make the experience better.
Possibly.
You don't think it would be better if they pumped in crowd noise?
No, because I know it's fake.
Yeah, but it's still crowd noise. Technically, there is crowd noise. It's all the people sitting at home cheering for their team.
Yeah.
I mean, don't you scream at the TV sometimes?
Always.
There you go. Speaking of which, did you see, just to get off course a little bit, did you see the one, I don't know if it was one, Danish, I think, soccer team that made a big Zoom meeting and put it on the Jumbotron and let those people and let the communication from them come into the arena.
Oh.
So they're sitting there cheering and stuff.
And the players can hear it?
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Why? It's like having fans in the arena.
Free speech for the Zoomers?
Yeah. I mean, it's no different than having them there.
Well, I mean, I don't know. If you have me on a Zoom and I say, hey, fuck you, LeBron, what happens? Are they going to fucking shut me off? LeBron gets to hear that?
Well, it's no different than you being at the arena. If you said...
Well, no, at the arena I won't say it because I'll get thrown out in a second.
Well, they probably do the same thing. Like, click. We'll hit the little X on your screen and you're gone.
I would sign up for that just to get a chance to cheer at a player that I don't like.
Look, the basketball plan...
Yeah, I don't know.
I like the basketball plan because I like any plan that calls for sports. But I just don't understand why they shut out those 8 teams.
Because nobody wants to see the Hawks, the Cavaliers, the Warriors. Nobody wants to see those teams, bro. Nobody wants to see that.
That's not true. Everyone wants to see the Warriors.
Nobody wants.
So Steph Curry's done for the year?
No, trust me, the Warriors will be fine next year. They're resting up.
No, I know, but so no Warriors? Really? Oh my God.
Yeah, dude, they're like in the lottery. Yeah, nobody wants to see those teams, man. I mean,
no more Vinsanity?
No, I guess that's it for him. Retiring.
That's terrible.
I'm fine with it.
He doesn't get his last hurrah.
Show me the teams that are fighting for a playoff spot. That will make the games a whole lot better because the teams that are the other 8 teams that are not in it, they're just gonna lose on purpose to fucking.
Can we do that
tank.
going forward? So next year, as soon as the team's eliminated from playoff contention, can we just make them stop playing?
Well, no, because that's gonna affect revenue, so can't do that.
Doesn't this affect revenue?
Right. Yeah.
Less games.
You can't have 30 teams in a bubble. You can only have 32.
22.
22. That's what I said. 22.
Oh, they said 32.
Yeah. 22.
Can't you just make the bubble a little bit bigger?
Nope.
Now, this is all going to be in Orlando?
Orlando, yeah. I think how they have it worked out is the players can't visit Disneyland, which I think is kind of fucked up.
What? Now, what about the players from the other 8 teams? Can they visit Disneyland?
No, they're excluded from Florida. They sent them to like a third world country.
To make sure they don't come in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think they're allowing family members for the playoffs to be in Florida, and I don't think they can go to like Disneyland and shit like that either. So it's this is what's interesting to me.
I love this stuff. This is great.
This is what's interesting to me. You got players like Russell Westbrook, plays for the Thunder.
No, he doesn't.
One of those for the Rockets, one of those 22 teams. You got DeMar DeRozan, plays for the Spurs. One of those 22 teams, I believe.
I believe so.
You got players that play for one of these 22 teams protesting, right? They're in the they're protesting.
Protesting what?
Protesting George Floyd.
Okay. I thought you meant.
Yeah.
I thought you meant.
Oh no. So.
What if they get COVID?
Well, that or. So the season starts in a month and 2 weeks, a month and a half, month and 3 weeks. Okay. So right now they're not preparing for the season because they're out there. But this stuff that's going on, it's. Even if they weren't protesting, it affects them mentally. When you're actually out there in the protests, I've never been to a protest, but I can only imagine what this whole protesting is all about for these players that are actually in there protesting with the people. What you see, what you feel, what you hear, what you guys talk about, that's all mentally draining. So I kind of wonder. The only one, I kind of wonder how some of these players are going to, react once the season starts and they start playing the games and all that shit.
But Alex, and I agree with you. It is a concern, but that's no different than having a family member that's overseas serving in the military like, when in Afghanistan or Iraq or whatever years ago. That's no different than your wife being pregnant.
Right, but the players are not. But the players don't. No, but the players are walking, are marching. But is again, what I'm saying.
But again, it's no different in the sense that they're real people, right? We often forget this in times of peace and harmony. We forget, when things are kind of quote unquote normal. We forget that they're normal people. They have spouses, their dog shits on the floor, they have family members that get sick and go overseas and pass away tragically. And I mean, it's just life, right? It's kind of, and I know the protests are very different than other things that are going on in our lives, but, I'll give you a perfect example. The protests are going on, there's a lot of players that are affected. Cody Stamen is a UFC fighter who fought on Saturday at UFC 250. His brother tragically passed away a few weeks ago. The mental drain on him when he's going through losing his brother and the effect on his family is equally heavy as guys that are out there protesting. I think it's part of life.
It's whatever.
Yeah, I mean, no, I'm not saying it's whatever. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying it happens to a lot of players, and the protests are not the only thing that weighs heavy on players' minds. There's other things, right? A sick parent. You see players, their dad passes away, and they go out and play. Just all kinds of stuff, right? Brett Favre played a Monday night game, a couple of days after his dad passed away. Those things weigh heavy, and there's a lot of things that happen in people's lives, right?
Yeah, but I mean, these guys have been preparing for that fight, for that game of Monday Night Football. These basketball players, yeah, they may have been squeezing in a couple workouts, but it's not the same. I mean, they were in the middle of a fucking pandemic, and now they're marching, and then in a couple of weeks they're gonna have it's really not, it's not the same. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, but you have
to retune yourself now. Brett Favre was already in the middle of a season. Yeah, his dad passed away. I'm real sorry, but he was still in basketball shape, playing basketball and all that.
Happened during the off season.
Well, I mean, it's not. It's
it's tough for everybody. I'm not diminishing what they're going through, but I also understand that. They're people. They're normal human beings at the end of the day, with a great God-given ability to play basketball at an extremely high level. Sure, but they have problems just like the rest of us do.
Yeah.
I think the NBA plan is interesting. And look, this is what I said about baseball, and I'll say it again. I don't agree with everything about the NBA plan. But in times like this, when everything is so weird, you just got to throw your hands up and go, okay, let's go with it. Something that the MLB can't seem to do, right?
Yeah.
But I don't agree with little parts of the plan, but you gotta move forward somehow, right? And so, as much as I don't like it, like I think it's the only part of the plan that really bothers me is that they don't get the win against that not top 22 team. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's dumb because the schedule is what the schedule is. And if you deem those teams so bad they can't even come to the bubble, then it should be a win. But again, I'd much rather have basketball with a plan with a few flaws in it than not have basketball at all.
No.
Something the MLB apparently is not learning, right? They want to have the perfect plan. The owners want to have their perfect plan. The players want to have their perfect plan. And, there is no perfect plan. You got to compromise and come forward so that we can move forward. That's the unfortunate thing.
Yeah.
So let me ask you one question. And I wish he hadn't said anything because I was really curious what you would think. Kevin Durant said his season is over. He's not coming back. He didn't care about the playoff push for the Brooklyn Nets, who are in a playoff spot right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what the situation is with Kyrie and his injury.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you think about Kevin Durant? And again, assuming he's healthy enough to play, right? Because obviously if he's not healthy, then I wouldn't want him to play not healthy either. Assuming he's healthy enough to play, what do you think about him saying, "Nah, I'm not getting into this playoff push thing"?
I'm gonna assume he's really close to being 100% healthy. I mean, he's been practicing for like 5 months already. So, I mean, but I don't know. Part of me says I think he should be out there if he's ready, him and Kyrie, because the Nets are not on the outside looking in. They're like in the playoffs right now. It's only 8 games, but you know, if he's also, I'm guessing this COVID maybe made him get a little setback because he got diagnosed, right?
Right.
So
yeah,
maybe that was a little setback for him. But I also look ahead a little bit. So, you know, he's coming off an Achilles injury. We've seen a lot of players, you know, he's over a year already, I think, or close to it, right?
Well,
like 12, 13 months.
The finals, right?
Yeah, so, I mean, you've seen players come back 8 months, 9 months, 7 months. But an Achilles injury is, you know, I don't know. I'm okay with it at the end of the day because that's my team, and I'd rather look forward to 2021 and, you know.
I kind of have a problem. I don't have a huge problem with it. I understand, and part of me, part of the reason I understand is because I do kind of give him a pass with the whole COVID thing because I don't know how that will affect him. But I think he should come back and play the 8 games, right? Because that's a pretty good, I mean, it's not a lot, but it's a good enough sample size to see if you can go in the playoffs, right? And to your point, they're in, you're right? They're not on the outside looking in. So right now, they are, I mean, they're 6 games ahead of the 9 seed. So they're basically in. So you have 8 games to see if you can play at that level, because whether you've been working out or not or going through practices or whatever, it's never the same, right? This is perfect for him to see if he can go. And if it turns out that, hey, he's not quite there, and you know the COVID thing maybe affected his cardio or whatever, okay, then you shut him down. Fine, I'm okay with that. But I think the 8-game play-in thing is perfect for him to see if he can go.
The other thing is,
and then think about it. If him and Kyrie can come back, right? Let's say they play those 8 games and they're fine, right? They're good to go. Now you really get to see if they can make hay in the playoffs. That would be an awesome story.
It would be,
right? And as a Nets fan, I would love it. I would love it.
But the other thing to consider also is, those guys, they haven't played together the whole season, especially Durant.
Right.
And they don't have a coach, right? Jacques Vaughn is their coach. And, you know, I'm sure these guys haven't spent a lot of time together. They haven't practiced together.
Dude,
you don't know how
KD and Kyrie just roll the ball out there.
Yeah, true. let them coach the team. I'm cool with it.
Let them run it themselves.
Look, at the end of the day, I always knew that this was going to be a Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving decision. Whoever the Nets coach is going to be a Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant decision. Them playing is going to be their decision. Everything is their decision. And, you know, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, both are probably top 5, top 7 players in the NBA. I don't care. Let them come back healthy next year.
Quite frankly, I think you saying that, and I agree with you, is the reason why they're not going to win the whole thing.
Not this year, no.
No, not next year either, or the year after.
Well,
I don't think KD and Kyrie are going to win an NBA championship together. I don't even think they're going to make the finals. I think they're going to be really good because they are incredible talents. But in order to get over the hump, you have to have a cohesive team unit, and those two kind of run their own show.
Well, the way you have that,
they're not going to have a coach.
The way you have that is with the right coach. So Kevin Durant already played with Klay Thompson and Steph Curry, who demand the ball so much. Now they don't have that type of diva attitude that Kyrie Irving has, but it's gonna take the right coach. That's all. And if you have the right coach, like if you have a Greg Popovich, I mean, that fucking cures everything. Right. So I mean,
no, absolutely. Remember we talked about this during The Last Dance that Phil Jackson kind of didn't get a lot of credit back in the day because they thought, oh yeah, just roll the ball out there and Jordan, Pippen, and Rodman will win you basketball games galore. But he really did play a very key role. And Steve Kerr done the same thing, obviously, with the Warriors. And I fear that the Nets, depending on just the talent of Kyrie and KD to win them championships, is not going to be enough. They're not going to go out there and get the right coach. They're not going to go out there and get the right complementary pieces. And that's why I don't think they're ever going to make it to that next level.
No.
And that's just my opinion at this point. But, I mean, yeah, if all of a sudden you put, and this won't happen, but if Steve Kerr all of a sudden is coaching the Nets, holy shit, right?
Yeah.
Popovich, right? Heck, if you got Phil Jackson out of retirement, I think it'd be amazing. Yeah. Although he's not,
he would have to coach from home.
Yeah,
like through a Zoom
meeting.
Yeah.
They'd have to put him on the jumbotron.
That guy can't fucking walk.
Well, yeah. A, physically it's tough on him, and B, I think he's done everything he wants to do, and it's hard to get him his fire lit.
Yeah.
So
unless you throw $10 million at him, I'm pretty sure he'll start walking then.
I mean, throw $10 million at me, I'll go coach him. I think I could coach the Nets for $3 million.
No, you can't. They'll fucking run you out,
dude. I'll walk in there with a whistle. They'll listen to me. I'll tell them straight up. The fight starts when you get close enough to hit me.
You're gonna fight the players?
If I have to.
Who are you, Bobby Knight?
All you gotta do, look, you don't have to fight them all. You have to fight one.
Yeah, well,
once
there's
they know,
15 of them.
Once they know, and look, they're all taller than me. They know. I mean, nut height. Don't fuck with me, man. You got anything else?
No, man.
Did you watch Be Water, the Bruce Lee 30 for 30 last night?
Yeah.
Did you like it?
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, there was a couple of things in there that I didn't know about Bruce Lee, and yeah, it was cool, I guess. I mean, I liked how they didn't show none of the people who were narrating that thing.
At the end, they showed.
At the end, they did, right? But while they were talking, they didn't show them. So
yeah, I thought that was an interesting way of doing that.
Yeah, well, it got to be a little different.
Yeah, I mean, when you're watching a documentary every week, it's got to be a little different.
Yeah, I mean,
it was too much Hollywood for my liking.
No,
it felt more like it felt like they just focused on his Hollywood life and being an actor, and that was a big part of who he was, right? I wanted to see more of his philosophy and martial arts and things like that because I find that more interesting. But I was really impressed. I've been a Bruce Lee fan since I was a little kid. I'm impressed with him as a philosopher, and you see those clips of him talking and how he thinks about the whole be water comment and the comment about being a human, and how they asked him what he thought about being looked at as an Asian American and things like that, and it's funny that it could apply to today, right?
Yeah,
the marginalization of Asian Americans, right? And this is what we're talking about now, the marginalization of people of color, and it's amazing how we have basically the same problems we had in the 60s and 70s. And here we are, 50, 60 years later, we still have the same problems.
Right.
When are we going to learn? That was the part that really struck me. It felt like it was almost like it's almost like ESPN knew that this was going to happen, and they put this documentary right here for us to watch. It was really amazing, I thought. The timing was eerie almost.
Well, next week will be pretty parallel to what's happening now, right? With the McGuire and Sosa, right? They cheated. The government cheats us. It's all parallel to what's going on, man. I think they're onto something.
I want to know what's after McGuire and Sosa. Yeah, I think McGuire and Sosa is 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Which, I'm all in on the documentaries, man. I mean, shit stops for me on Sunday night.
Yeah.
I love it.
I don't know, man. After The Last Dance, it's like, I mean, what do we not know about McGuire and Sosa? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you said the same thing about The Last Dance. You said the same thing about Bruce Lee.
Yeah, but there was a lot of things. I know. There was some good stuff that I didn't know about, but it's not enough about The Last Dance and about Bruce Lee, but it's, other than that, like,
I think part of it too,
I'm not like, oh my God, I didn't know. Like, oh my God, could you believe Bruce Lee was born in San Fran? Like
was that your reaction?
No, like.
Yeah, but I think part of it too.
Oh my God, Dennis Rodman fucking asked for time off. Can you fucking believe that? Like, it's like, what? Like, does it surprise me? No, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, it's fucking Dennis Rodman. Like,
no, but I think part of it too, or for me at least, part of it too is that throwback, right, of what was going on in those times, and I think that's part of what makes it interesting for me. I enjoy that look back because obviously you don't remember everything. I mean, you're a little bit younger than I am. So.
You know what the NBA and baseball and hockey and football is what is not going on, but baseball, hockey, and basketball should have done Throwback Day since they canceled their seasons and just show the best games for that day. On this date.
Well,
that would be awesome.
The NBA's been doing that on Sundays. They've been showing games from different finals from previous years.
Yeah, but they're fucking milking the shit out of the Cavs and Warriors and the fucking Heat and then the Spurs and I mean
recency bias.
I don't. So that's what I'm saying. Like on this date, like today, June whatever today is, June 8th. Show the best games of baseball that happened in June 8th, whatever you think is the best game. And then June 8th, if the finals game was played today, show the best game ever that was played on June 8th for the NBA. That would have been, and it would have, would have been like, man, this is happening now. I think that would have been cool. But that's just me.
Well, that's what they're doing on Sundays. They're showing you great NBA Finals games.
Yeah.
That include LeBron James.
Right. Fuck LeBron.
Yeah, they don't go very far back, do they?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Then again, LeBron's been in the league, 15 years?
Well, that, and they probably don't want to show you SD videos.
They
have to be,
You know what I want to see? I would love to see? I want to see the game where Kermit Washington knocks out Rudy Tomjanovich. That was a regular season game. Apparently that was, Kermit Washington broke Rudy Tomjanovich his face.
Oh,
I want to see that game.
Rudy Tomjanovich coaching or playing?
Playing.
Oh, playing?
It's from the 70s.
See? Show that.
Yeah. Show some old stuff. Even if it's grainy, who cares? Like, I'd love to see a classic Boston-Philadelphia game with Bird and Dr. J.
Yeah, I'm sure they had one in April or May of the playoffs one year. Show that.
They used to meet in the conference finals.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
There you go. See?
You got anything else, buddy?
That's it, man.
You got a shout out?
No. Shout out Colin Kaepernick. Predicting the future.
Predicting the future?
Predicting the future. That's right. Somebody needs to mention his name. I mean, shit.
I miss where he predicted the future. I think he wanted
talked about the future.
Wanted the future to be better.
That's right. And everybody fucking ignored him. I'm not ignoring him. Shout out to you, Colin Kaepernick.
My shout out goes out to Amanda Nunes, she's the greatest MMA fighter. She's the greatest female MMA fighter for sure. And she may be one of the greatest MMA fighters ever. She defended her 145 belt on Saturday, thoroughly dominating Felicia Spencer for 5 rounds. Never in doubt. I mean, she looked like she was fighting a kid at times. It was really it was just incredible.
She was holding back.
Yeah,
there's no way she was going all out.
And when they stopped the fight, I think in the 4th round to have the doctor check Spencer, I think Amanda was about to finish the fight right there, and obviously she missed out on that opportunity because Felicia Spencer got a little chance to recoup and recover a little bit. But she's a 135 champion. She's a 145 champion. She beat the 125 champion twice. I mean, she's the greatest female fighter there is. Shout out to Amanda Nunes.
Who else is there left for her to fight?
I don't know.
She's got.
I'm to the point where the only person I want to see her fight is Valentina Shevchenko at 125. And I'd like to see her go all the way. I don't know if she can, but if she could, go all the way down to 125 and take her belt too. Or try to take her belt. Because there's no one at 135 and there's no one at 145. There's no one.
I think this is when you test out a female versus a male. Fuck it.
You can't do that.
Fuck it.
No.
Equality. This is what equality is about. Put a fucking female against a male and have them fucking fight.
No.
She almost looks like a fucking guy. Might as well.
Terrible idea.
I'm all for it, man.
No.
I'm all for it.
No. A, it'll never happen. And B, I'm glad it'll never happen. Never, ever have women and men fight. No. That's a terrible idea.
I'll definitely watch that. I'll start watching UFC if they do it. I'll start watching UFC if they do that.
I'll watch it because I'll watch any. I'll watch a fight. A sanctioned fight, I will watch it. But anyway, that's that, folks. With that, we've come to the end of another wonderful episode of the Positive Sports Podcast. As always, if you want to reach out to us, you can email the show at positivesports10@gmail.com, positivesports10@gmail.com. If they want to get a hold of you, Alex, how do they do that?
On Twitter at BrooklynGaucho1.
And you can get a hold of me on Twitter as well at eMontana21. Thank you for watching the podcast, listening to the podcast on YouTube, iTunes, Podbean, Google Play, however you choose to watch or listen to your podcast. And as always, folks, ignore the negativity. Be the positivity.
Peace.